We've been out doing a lot of exposure bracketing, so I'm just going to show you a quick manual edit, and this should be relatively easy. This is from the other day. I've got two images open in Capture One or selected. You can see obviously the inside and outside. I'm just going to process them out. Press the process button. This one on the left, all I've done is just messed with the white balance. Just clicked on that door frame just to make it a little bit more neutral, and then and open up the shadows. That was all. So here they come. They're both opening up in Photoshop now. All right, there's the two. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go select the move tool, hold down the shift key, click and drag, drop it on top of the other one. Hit F on the keyboard just to get the full screen view, so I can remove that. And I'm just going to turn that on and off and just see if there isn't any slight movement. If I zoom in, it could possibly be. There is. See, that's slightly moved. Because I can tell you why. Because I've actually focused on the background, whereas the previous one you can see the frame is sharp, the background is not sharp. So I've actually done a focus and exposure blend at the same time. This may or may not work properly, but anyway, let's have a look. Hold down the shift key, select both layers. There, 1 and 2, and we go up to edit, auto align layers. I just use the auto button, click OK. We'll see what it does. There may be some funny issues around that frame, but hopefully not. Okay, if we turn it on and off, now it looks like it's pretty much perfect. Doesn't seem to be any craziness going on. Is anybody epileptic? I hope not. Okay. Select layer 1, which is top layer, and we're going to invert it. Oh, no, we're not. That's crazy. I'm going to add a layer mask, and then I'm going to invert the layer mask. Okay, so there it is. I'll zoom out, and I'm going to just select everything that's outside of that frame. I'll watch this doorway here a little bit, but that's okay. I click on layer 0 and go one tool. This should be a pretty easy selection. This part will be. It may get a little bit more tricksy as we get further down. Pick that up, make sure I pick that up. And I think we're doing alright. I love this lazy guy stuff. This is just right up my alley. So we know what to do now, don't we? We're just going to go up here, select that, and because we have this selected, if we go B for brush, paint white and into that, in that selection, we're going to start to see more of what's outside. But we don't want it to be super dark. We don't want it to be 100% like that, because then that looks a bit unrealistic. So we're just going to go 30% opacity, and I'm just going to brush that through there like that. There's 30%, and we may do another one like that. And I didn't go all the way down, I only went part of the way down, because I still want it to be, I want that light that's coming through the doorway to be fairly consistent. Now you can see that we've got it needs to be light outside. It can't be perfect outside and perfect inside unless we're using lighting, and I still don't like the look of that anyway. So let's deselect and zoom out and just turn on and off, and you can see that's a pretty good mix, I believe. You can also have your opacity here if you want to pull that back just a little bit more, which I might do as well, just a smidgen. Like that. And that's how you just manually put those blends together. And from then on, you would start editing the image. And in this case, all I would probably be interested in is just adding a little bit more light to and colour to some of those doorways, stuff like that. Why don't we do something a little bit different? Let's look at selective colour. Select the cyans maybe, and just move our black slider around. Less black, maybe more cyan. Let's look at our blues, see if the black point does anything with that. There you go. We can open up, take all the black out of those blues, add a bit more cyan again, not doing much. Magenta, slight changes, yellow. Anything in the yellow? No. So you're just mucking around. We're going to have a look at the whites. Where are our whites? There they are, inside and outside. Do we want that to be less or more? I think I'll just leave that. Double click back on the word and go back to 0. In those whites we could probably put more cyan if we wanted to, or less cyan, but I think we'll leave the whites alone. Midtones, or the neutrals, a good one to muck around with. Look at this. Which one are we going to select? What do we want? A little bit lighter. It's a little bit less contrasty, but it's kind of nice to have it a little bit. That's how it was. We'll just pull it back a little bit. And in the midtones we can start really adding more of a color cast. But I don't think we really want to do that. So I'm just looking at this, just finding different ways of doing things. The blacks are kind of pretty cool to mess around with because you can really increase the contrast in the black areas. So that's kind of cool. If you do this magenta, you can really go crazy on it. That looks nice. But we'll just leave magenta alone. So what we've got is, you can see it's kind of brought the texture out in that wall a little bit. It's added a little bit more light through there, and that's just using selective colour. So that's kind of a cool little one to muck around with. And I might just look at the curves adjustment layer. Again, Option or Alt click on the auto. Brings up our little dialog box. And straight away we'll be able to see if we've got any particular color casts. Snap neutrals, that's probably not too bad. These ones work pretty well, because with that set you can see it takes a bit of that magenta out, puts a bit more green back in there. I sort of want something that's a little bit more not too green. I quite like that. I'll click OK and then turn that on and off. You can see by doing that we've increased the contrast and we've taken a bit of that magenta out of it. One last thing, I might go and do a hue saturation adjustment layer. Click on the little hand, select the blue, and maybe just pump a bit more colour, or less. No, up, down, just a little bit. Possibly mess with the hue a bit. Or not. Maybe not. Oh, green. Do you want green? No. Let's just leave the hue alone. I might look at my levels adjustment layer just to see if I've got any issues. Obviously this is all the pixels that are outside the window. I might go, let's add a bit more light inside. You can see that the outside's blowing out, but we don't care about that. We're going to invert that layer mask, Command I. Select the brush tool. We know it's B for brush. Should I say it anymore? No, probably not. Drop opacity 30%, which it is. And we're just going to brush a little bit more light under here. And through these darker corners. Maybe down this wall, sort of follow where the light is. And leave the outsides a bit dark, more vignetted. This corner here is particularly dark, and then maybe just where this light's coming through, just lighten it up through there a bit. So have a look at that before and after. The only other thing you need to do is, you can see how the edges are a little bit funny because we've had to, because I've focused differently, so I had to align the layers, so you just need to crop that. One thing I forgot to do when I went from Capture One was to select the what's name thingy. You know the what's name thingy. I forgot to go into this one here and select the profile. See where it says generic. This is the 28mm phase lens for some reason only. It's the only one that doesn't automatically select it. So that's it there. That's what I would normally select. And that would get rid of the chromatic aberration if there's any. And then I use the sharpness fall off, and I generally go to 250%. If I zoom into that corner and turn this on and off, so that's 250%. That's nothing. You see how it's fixed up that edge? I'm not sure if you can do that in Lightroom. I doubt you can. Anyway, that is how we do that.